Okay, greetings fellow traders. Happy weekend to you and happy new month to you. This is Michael Storm, also known as Robin Hood. And today we would like to go over, once again, the charts that we do at the end of every month. So you guys have a chance to see what we're looking at, what we're thinking about. Euro dollar, I'll start with that, everybody's favorite pair, and go through many euro crosses until we finish up with the euro, then we'll move along to the pound, and I'll just see if I can fit in as many as possible. So euro on a monthly chart, if you remember, last month we were looking at the monthly support and the monthly 200 MA. The bounce that started, we had the monthly buy, and we worked our way up to the 382 fib. My computer's running a little bit slow. I've got to scan this. Unfortunately chose this time to do a scan, so I hope everything will be okay. But we were looking at this 382 fib right here, and prices have hit that level, and we said that if we went through, it opened up a doorway to possibly attack the 50%. It's never happened, at least not right now. And we have a little bit of a pullback after a three-month run. We do have a pullback bar on the monthly chart, which is completely okay. Now on the weekly, you can see longer term, we have the weekly trend line that has been broken. Okay, that's very clear that trend line right, what did I just do? That didn't work. I was trying to change it to brown. Okay, so that weekly trend line has been broken and we bounced significantly. And we made it all the way up into the 786 fib. And so far we're just having an orderly pullback right now to what looks to be on the supportive side. Okay, one thing I want to draw your attention to is on the daily and the weekly chart, this price point right over here is approximately 126.30s, 126.50s, and you'll see it on two time frames. Okay, weekly, should be able to see it right there, and as well right there. And then if you look at it on a daily, you'll actually see this entire level is a structure of support. Now it's not major, but actually somewhat it is. If you look at the price 126, right here it's 126.40. You can see it. I'll try and draw it in, just show you really quickly that how many times prices have come near this or hit this. In times past, it's actually been quite a bit, and you can run your charts back, a long way, and see this price is just being continually pegged over the course of a long time. Here we are at it a couple of times. I know that's not super clear because I'm scrunched up really badly right now, but let me try and widen it out just a little bit. And we just go through time, just keep on dragging it back through time, and you do see that there is a lot of times that the charts have had a reaction, right around this level. There's another one. There's one that came close, didn't quite make it. It's a little bit stretchy, a little bit elastic, and I actually had this done on a different computer, and then found out I couldn't record on that computer. It was a real pain. So looking back, you can see, this area over time, well, we don't need to go back that far. It has been a level of structure in times past. And my thoughts are right now, if we look at the daily chart, okay, euro dollar on a daily, we were actually hoping that this trend line that was, starting to hold, we were hoping that it would have held. And the problem is it didn't. We broke down, we went below some other fibs, and we're right back down to really a very, very critical spot on the daily charts. And I'm a bit fearful. I have to admit that I am afraid that euro is possibly going to break down. It is attacking this number, and I'm worried that the euro may break down here, and if it does, it opens up a doorway for a pretty hard pullback. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying the door gets opened. It depends on whether we're going to walk through it or not. We don't know, but I'm worried, and there's other people that are probably worried. I'm not saying that I'm long. I'm not, okay? I currently don't want the euro to die at this moment. And I know, blasphemy. Horrible that I would say such a thing, but yeah, it's true. I just, I don't want it to die right now. And, I've got reasons for that, but this is scary. So if this opens up through here and we actually get below this number over here, we could see a pretty hard pullback over the length of time. So just something to be aware of, something to consider, that euro's in a little bit of danger right now. And we'll quit enough with that and move on to the euro yen. Now, euro yen on a monthly, we do have this descending wedge pattern right in here. And you can see that, we haven't really gone through this trend line right here. Should have had this color coded. And we have a small trend right there on the monthly. We haven't gone through that line because we got a three month rise, and we could eventually go through that, and it would possibly attack the other one. And if it goes through there, we'd be looking higher. We do have reasons for that we're thinking about euro yen going higher, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Euro Canada on a monthly chart, you can see that its trend line is being very well obeyed, as a matter of fact. We have a couple of points. We have one point of contact way up high. We have another point of contact right over here. Okay, and then there's another one right here. And this is being well obeyed. It's not going through it yet. Okay, and on the weekly, you can see Euro Canada. It depends on how you're going to draw it. There's two ways to draw the trend line. We can either start from way up here, or we can start from over here. And depending on which one that we start from, it will give us this run that you see connecting almost in the same place, right in this area from last year, and then bringing it down to where we are now. So if we look at where we are here, we have a nice upward channel on this chart. It's a very nice channel, but it is kind of rejecting that line and the one right above it. Okay, so this is just something to think about on a weekly. And then if we look at the daily, this is actually a trade that we were looking at the other day in our trade room for a short. And, well, I'll show you the reason was basically we had a nice daily channel that you can see with these lines. And we had a top that was made. And then right over here, we actually went through this top. I don't know if you can see this that well. Let me try and stretch it out a little bit so that it's more visible. And pardon me, we were looking to short this up in this high because we went through the previous peak just a little bit and started to reverse, pretty hard. And we were looking for it to come down into the 50% area and attack these wicks. And then talking about, the possibility of even attacking the trend line. And then, we can obviously see the end result right now. The past couple of days, it's just been collapsing. And we've gone quite lower. All right, so there is no doubt that, euro has been hit very hard, and it's been hit hard across the board. Euro against the dollar itself, euro against Canada got hit pretty hard. We've hit this trend line, actually taken it out, so we can remove it now, and hitting a 618 fib level and stalling right at the moving average. So this does look a little bit supported. I have to say that I would expect a bounce on Euro Canada at this point based upon the daily, and you can see the 4-hour, pulling back to the 4-hour 240 minute chart is pulling back. Let me just blow this up a little bigger. You can see that we're pulling back to the 200 MA. So I actually do expect that to be somewhat supported. Then looking over at Euro Australia, we can see its monthly. All right, on its monthly chart, we've got a line dropping from above, and it's connecting with a few places. And it's still being very obedient in its monthly downtrend. The weekly chart has risen substantially. We do see a rise on Euro Aud almost to the 886 fib level. It came extremely close to that area. a nice big up thrust there on the weekly. And then we see this pullback here, beautiful multi-week pullback on Euro AUD, right back into this bit of congestion, the confusion bar before the extra breakout. Now the daily chart, we've pulled back into a very small, oops, didn't mean to grab that. Okay, we've pulled back into a small fib, the 382 fib, and it's fairly orderly, hitting the 200 MA, going through it a little bit, but I can see a tad of support in here. You can see it from September, you can see it from October. Right in here it looks like this number ought to be a little bit on the supportive side. This number is approximately 123.60s, and I'm hoping that we don't blast too far below that. I think AUD is a little bit overdone right now. We have a tiny 4-hour piercing bar, so we might get a little bit of a lift off. And Euro New Zealand on its monthly chart is still in a beautiful downtrend, definitely. But we occasionally get these monthly buys, as we had said last time. They get a little bit of a lift off. There has been occasional runs that have materialized when this gets really oversold. Not every time, there's a small one right there. And so we have this monthly buy right here, but we just don't have any follow through at the moment. If we end up breaking above this monthly resistance, then we would expect a couple of extra bars up. We could have a 2-month pop on Euro New Zealand. And looking at the weekly chart, we're still in an incredible downtrend, very well defined by this line right here. You can see it, and it's got a few places that we can connect to, and it hasn't really come up here on this third attempt. It didn't really make it. Fourth attempt, nowhere near. Not at all. So right now we're just looking at weekly support. Basically that's where we are. Euro New Zealand is at a weekly support, and actually hoping that we don't go through this too much more, because it's kind of overdone right now. And we see the support is approximately 154.65 level, and we're hoping that we don't really drop through this 50% fib. Right there is where we're at. But if we do drop through the 50% fib, we're hoping that this little spot right here will hold us. And okay, and then we look at the daily chart of Euro New Zealand. Nice moves, very nice. It's quite the mover, and we've pulled all the way back into the 886 fib, and so far we don't have any daily correction at all. I mean, nothing. We've just got a fib level. We don't even have a daily buy. We have nothing. So it's really hurting. We have to admit that there's a lot of trouble with this pair currently. All right, and then Euro Pound. This one's kind of interesting. If we look at the Euro Pound on a monthly chart, we can see a nice bit of structure right there. We can see it, way back here, way over there. And there's our congestion, and there's where we hit. 100 moving average on the monthly, getting a bounce, okay? But there's a problem right over here, which you should be able to see right in the middle, 2010, middle of 2010. The congestion from 2008, where we got this original box. We hovered here for a whole year, and we're just right up against that. Okay, so monthly we are really having trouble getting through 82. Should be able to see it if I bring it up a little wider. You should be able to find that there. It's basically 82 level. And then when I look at this on a weekly, alrighty, so the weekly chart, we're up against this little spot way back from 2010, right in here, right there. And again, not just 2010, but this last year as well, weekly struggle spot is right here, these two places. So when I blow that up bigger, we should be able to see this level, is approximately 81.50s, and we're having a lot of trouble sneaking above that. Then, looking at the daily, we had two trend lines. One of them I had to take out because it actually snapped already. There was a trend line right here. As you can see, it hit on 1, 2, and number 3, 3 places. But it didn't offer any support, and that trend line got broken. So now we only have this one to go on. And if you look at the prices, they're not bad. I mean, 80 is a pretty important psychological level. I certainly don't want it to break, 80. In my opinion, I just don't want it to. We've gone through a 618 fib, as you can see, and we haven't made it lower yet. I'm really hoping that we don't get there. Let me move this fib out of the way. I'll just get rid of it. And we can see, we've gone through the 618 level, and we're now down to a 382 fib of our larger move. So this looks like it should be supported here, just on this basis, as well as the trend line, as well as the daily, 100 moving average right below us. And not just that, but the psychological level of 80. So definitely hoping for Euro Pound to stop moving down. But we don't have a turn, as I've said. It just isn't there yet. Now, moving along to the pound dollar. Pound on a monthly. Just a quick reminder what we were looking at last month. We are very resistive above, and we're very supported below. So we are channel trading in a range, a monthly range that's going on for quite a while now. It's almost 2 years, and about 1.5 years, actually. And looking at this weekly chart of pound, we can see basically a longer term triangle. All right, guys, so looking at the weekly, should be able to see this slowly descending line right here where we're getting a little bit triangular and actually dropping it again. I can do it one more time right here. Same thing coming from above. So we do have a weekly wedge, weekly triangle on the pound. And then looking at the daily chart, we had, well, this is kind of interesting actually. Let me show you what we were looking at. We played this quite well for a while, and we had a channel or a megaphone type of a pattern that was appearing, back here. Actually, I can't draw this right. Not getting it correct. There we go. That's the best I can do. And we were really pegging this awesome for a while, just shorting the tops, buying the bottoms, shorting the tops, buying the bottoms. It was a wonderful joy. It really was. And all of a sudden, things got out of line, and we had a pop where I had to redraw that trend line just a little bit because we went through. And again, we got kind of bullish, it looked like a bullish breakout because the trend line, burst and prices went up. And then all of a sudden just, plop right back down again. So pound dollar has been a little bit wild, because of that. Everybody gets jacked up on it when it's bullish. Oh, we got a trend line break and we're going to the moon, and, it just leaves you disappointed. So it immediately came back down, and we have just a full retracement to a 618 fib area. And you can see that recent low, that recent daily low right there and right there. It's just been pegged. So, it's tempting. It is definitely tempting to get all bearish, with a big daily sell bar. But look what happened the last time. Last time we got that daily sell, it just turned around and ripped everybody's face off, climbing to the moon. And that breakout right there. Now we have a beautiful daily sell. I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Oh, pound is going to drop to the center of the earth." But I'm not so sure. I would play this one very, very carefully because of the way that that catches people off guard. So I just drop down to lower time frames with the pound. I've got to. I see some 4-hour support here. If we go through 160, okay, I'll get a little bit bearish for a while with caution. But if we bounce off of 160, I'm looking at a retracement right back up again. And actually this is something I am looking for. So let me go ahead and step out on the line and say that I am expecting pound to hold these lows and to have a retracement up here very, very close to 160, 161. All right, so trade with caution, though. Let me put that disclaimer out there. Be cautious. Now, moving on to pound yen, the monthly chart, we're still in a long-term decline, obviously, but we have broken that trend line coming from above. That trend line is now all gone. And we just have monthly buy. It's all green, lots of pressure to the upside. We are going to get to U.S. Japan in a moment, but looking at pound yen, you can see this one's doing quite well. We have just beautiful weekly bars, all green, pointing up, and it's just looking good. It's looking pretty solid to me. We've broken a 618 level. I think we can make it to the 786 or 886 fibs eventually. I'm looking for that to come in the days ahead. And then on the daily basis for pound yen, we have just a very nice ascending channel right now. It's looking really good. Over time, I do like this long on pullbacks. Of course, you need the pullbacks. Okay, and then pound Canada. Our monthly chart, we don't have a ton to go on. You can just see that it's very, very resistive up in these highs, which is, anywhere above 164 becomes remarkably resistive. And you can see it, here for about 4 months. Got about 4 months there. You have a couple months over here where it did try to be supportive a couple of times. We had some bottoming tail wick action. And ever since that gave way, it's just been nothing but resistive up above, and we have pretty good support below. So basically 164, 154, a little bit above 154, about 1,000 pip range on the monthly. Then we look at pound Canada on the weekly chart. Now this one, you can see what it's doing is it's getting a sinking. Watch this, a sinking resistance. That was resistive, then it's dropping, okay, then it's dropping again right here. You see all these little levels, and it's starting to drop down, dropping. Okay, this is tightening up, a lot of tightening action. Here we have what was supportive. It's rising, okay. There it got hit, I know, went through it a little bit. It's rising there, rising here, rising again. Okay, so weekly, we definitely have some tightening up action. And, it's just bouncing around between all these levels. It's a great player, I gotta say, pound Canada. When it moves, it really moves. Now I'll show you a trade that was a little tricky, and we had trouble with it. I'll be honest, not every trade is awesome, and not every trade works, and sometimes you're scratching your head going, gee, I was so bearish, and I was bearish way too soon, and I'm kind of smarting for it. We were focusing on this area, pound Canada, at the 786 fib, because of all this entire month of June right here, how prices just really didn't want to go through. So I was actually bearish many days ago, right there at that level, and have actually been preaching, pound Canada short ever since that day. Well, lo and behold, even since that day, prices rose higher and higher. Wow, we were struggling, because we were committed, we were involved, and quite a bit of washing activity was taking place, but to the room, I was telling everybody, I'm really expecting a 200 pip drop, and I'm in shock that that it's going that high. So what we have over here on the daily, we've got, and I did warn everybody that was not a daily sell bar. Okay, it was a daily confusion bar, and then the next day it was all green, and we were like, uh-oh, and it just went, pow. I mean, literally looked so bullish on that day, went up again. And then all of a sudden, we finally got what we were waiting for. And we had our multi-100-point crash, which is exactly what we wanted. So a lot of people were, into that as a swing trade, and probably paid out pretty good because it was quite a drop. But every once in a while, you get a trade that will hurt you for a bit before, being obedient and finally going your way. This one here, we'll move along to pound Australia. You can see on the monthly, still dropping down action and rising up action. And we are in the land of monthly buys. Okay, this is the territory of the monthly buy where it really pops. Monthly buy really pops. Monthly buy, boom. Monthly buy, pow. Okay, all of this very, very strong. But I'm still expecting, obviously a pullback because the monthly gets so tight. And we can see, equally it does these monthly buys, but look at these incredible weekly retracements. Down, boy. It just keeps dropping. Here we already have weekly dropping action right now. So pound odd is currently getting hit, and there's a little bit of pressure on it. And you can see daily, that it's really chopping around. We've got quite a bit of sideways price action with pound Australia. And really the culprit has been euro odd. Euro odd has been slapped silly. Euro New Zealand has been slapped silly. Pound odd, pound New Zealand, not as bad. I mean, pound New Zealand obviously, took it worse. But this one here, almost holding its own. And it's keeping odd very high, very lofty. And another one of the problems is odd yen. Unbelievable strength. Unbelievable. And its cousin, New Zealand yen, probably just crushing everybody because New Zealand yen is on a tear and it just doesn't want to pull back. It's the strongest dog on the planet right now. Okay, so actually we'll head over there in a minute, but I'm just going to keep dropping down the pound right now. So pound Swissy, on a monthly chart, we have something that was resistive way over here, and that price is approximately 147.90s and 148. It used to be very resistive, but now is turning quite supportive, and you can see it. And so we're really sideways on a monthly, but there's actually a lot of pips involved in there on a daily basis, quite a bit. And weekly, we have a small channel. You can see it. It's a small channel right here. And the weekly is just basically pulling down to monthly support. And there's a lot of movement in this pound Swissy. This thing has been great. I mean, I can't imagine anybody wanting to trade Euro Swiss. Why? Please tell me. I don't have a clue why anybody would ever want to trade that thing. It's like shooting, nothing. It moves 10 pips. You're like yawning. But pound Swissy, a lot of beautiful moves. And the other day we had a bit of trouble with it because it was down here near the 200 and just breaking it and going back up and breaking it and going back up again. And I became confused with the pair and actually didn't want to trade it all that much. My fellow roomie, Chris, was extremely bullish on it, and I wish he had told me because he got paid a darn fortune, and I didn't even know until it was done. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm long. I'm up 160 pips." I'm like, "Oh great, you told everybody in London, but not me." So I have to confess I missed out on that trade, but he got long and it shot to the moon there, and eventually we were looking short, and we had a nice pullback, and I think the other day we were actually looking short up here as well. It's already starting to pull back. I like pound Swissy. It's becoming a fun trade. So just focus on the larger term time frames, and then obviously for all your intraday decisions, you got to jump into the lower ones. Now pound New Zealand, I actually hate this pair right now. I'm not liking it at all, and I haven't traded it I think for quite a while. The monthly is still dropping into an ultra tight triangle. I mean ultra tight. And the monthly ranges are getting tighter than anything you've ever seen. I mean, that bar right there has almost no pips in it. There's nothing there, okay? It's just not visible. Where? I mean, does it have a lifeline? Is it alive? I don't know. The thing is barely moving. And, weekly, you can see the dropping action from the top, okay, and the rising action from below. And look at this weekly range now. ooh, I shudder. I really do. That trade's scary. And daily, it is a complete chop and flop city. We just have nothing but red, green, all Christmas tree. I'm not liking it. It is at some daily support. I can see that. There is a tad of daily support there. We do have a slightly descending triangle look, okay, on the daily. I think I would be expecting a bounce right about now. And but it's blood red on the lower time frame. So pound New Zealand, until it gets up and does something that's really impressive, I don't have a great handle on it right now, and I don't really want to mess with it. But U.S. Japan, we are definitely liking. U.S. Japan is looking mighty lovely indeed. The technicals, the fundamentals are coming into alignment in a powerful way. There has been times that this thing has made huge moves. I mean, rip your face off monthly moves that just blow you away. Now, they're not always that great. I know I'm jumping back to 1994, and you're going to say to me, Mike, don't go back that far. Okay, well, we'll look back here. 1999, look at that move. Wow, fantastic. And look at 2004. Ooh, boy, that's getting pretty hot. And then we've got 2006, that was pretty hot. 2008, nice one. I know the ranges are starting to get smaller. I realize that. You see over here 2008, 2009. There's 2010, had a good move. And the ranges are getting smaller. But we have them acting. They've been jawboning and complaining and stealth intervention and you name it, everything under the sun. And now we got some action. And I know, you can debate it and say, well, 800 billion isn't enough, and, that extra 10 trillion they kicked in wasn't enough. But, it's starting to have an effect. And the fundamentals and the technicals coming into alignment, I really like. I do enjoy that monthly buy. We were looking at this as a long, and for many days. And I like the weekly, coming up to the top. I can see that's weekly resistance. Let me blow this up bigger. Should be able to see weekly wedge triangle. This is a trend line break right in here. I've got a beautiful weekly trend line break. This happened quite a while ago. Let me scrunch the chart up so you can see it. Very, very long term. Okay, huge long term trend line break. So I'm liking U.S. Japan more to the long side. I have to admit, I prefer it long, and I know we're obviously at resistance right now. There's no question. Understand it. It's weekly resistance. I'm there. I'm with you. But I like the pullbacks, and right now, this is looking really good. And the other day in our trade room, we were actually looking to get long, and I'll even tell you the prices. We actually bought a little bit too early. I put one lot on at 79.62, and then we ended up bidding 50 and 35. So we had 62, 50, and 35, and then all of a sudden, pow, and it was beautiful. So all three of them went into profit. Prices just kept climbing, and we're now up against a 127 fib extension. Let me get this in right there. We might go a little bit higher, possibly, but I all of a sudden I don't feel like being a buyer. Okay, just don't want to do it. And I'd like to see an orderly pullback of some caliber before I try and get long again. So anyway, looking at a few other pairs, we'll jump in and look at the Australia dollar now and take a peek at that. Okay, so if we go to Australia on a monthly chart, we are obviously in an uptrend and have considerable pulling back triangular action right here. Now, I went to visit Australia, and that was a great place, and I can understand why their economy is doing so well. So I talked to a bunch of people, and I looked around. I said, this is a great place. I really, really liked it. And I have no problem with their currency being this strong, even if they do, even if it bothers them, even if it's hurting their housing, which it is. I still very much can understand this, and I would rather buy this than anything. I certainly don't want my US dollars. No, thank you. I would much rather have this. So we have the monthly triangle. We have weekly still very strong, as you can see, but it's still dropping. Okay, and eventually we could see, you know, a real problem with China. Obviously, it could happen. Things may not continue the way they've always done, right? I mean, we propped up our market, didn't we? Yeah, sure we did. Yeah, we did it in 2000. We did it again and again and again. And all of a sudden the bubble just burst. And where are we now in America? Practical depression, okay? So, you know, China did it too. I mean, they pumping up, right? And, you know, obviously it's continued that boom. You know, it's continued their boom cycle, and it's helped Australia out quite a bit. But can they continue? Can they just really do this forever? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people out there saying no, and you can read the fundamental stories on the internet, and you know, I'm really looking at it like, you know, one of these days, they're just not gonna make it. You know, like they've always been. Anyway, you know, that's for another time. So, looking at this weekly line now, if we ever go through that weekly line and we really start driving down, oof, I'll have to get bearish. And yeah, there could be a problem over there with the mining sector and the you know, investment. Okay, mining investment, obviously, you know, it very well could have peaked and is dropping over capacity, etc., and other things. You know, there's other fundamental reasons. I mean, I'm more of a technical guy, so I don't want to get off of my, you know, my technical hobby horse right now and jump on a fundamental bandwagon. But you know, Mongolia, I mean, they are just absolutely rich in natural resources, and if people are going to be, you know, jumping over there and starting, you know, the same mining process that they're doing in Australia, and if Mongolia comes online, you know, within a couple of years, I realize it takes time, you know, the capacity, etc. You know, what's that going to do to prices? I mean, prices are going to plummet, and there will be issues. There definitely will be. So looking at the daily, you know, we just were expecting a nice pullback that we got, and then we were expecting a big run, you know, which we got. And let me get rid of this because this is a little bit old now. And all we're really getting is orderly pullback actions so far. We do have a big daily sell bar, and you know, potential trend line break coming. We don't know yet. But if we end up breaking this to the downside, then we can get really bearish, okay? And so, but anyway, right now, odd on a 4-hour chart, you know, we're down near the 200 MA, and I kind of would expect a bounce. A lot of dip buyers, always are, always have been. A lot of dip buyers out there. And New Zealand, as far as the daily goes, I mean, we had this little bearish type of a wedge formation that formed here, and we popped. We pulled back and basically, you know, kissed into this a second time, and it still held. You know, it held very firmly as support. A nice daily buy, daily confusion bar, still green. You know, another pausing action, still green, still green. Okay, the daily's been really strong, and you know, they may be moaning and groaning and complaining and saying it's really too high, it's really too high, and you know, you can find all kinds of reasons why you might think it's too high, and you know, there's only so many people, there's too many sheep, ha ha ha, you know, all the jokes. I mean, you know, whatever. But you know what? Let's just face it. New Zealand's strong, okay? It's really, really strong currency. And it's not giving us much of a pullback. And if you look at the price action for the last couple of days, this thing has been hanging tough, hanging really tough. You know, and you keep wishing for a fall, and what do you get? I mean, you get 20 pips. Just not that much fun. So, in all honesty, I don't flip over trading New Zealand that much. I know other people might, but I don't see the greatest reason to do so. I've got to pay an extra pip or two in spread. It's not moving all that well. I got to sit there for 5 hours, you know, to make 20 pips. I don't know. There's bigger fish in the ocean to fry, in my opinion. But you know, we do keep it up and we do watch it and we do occasionally trade it, but it's becoming less and less. All right, I just checked my time. It looks like I'm at the 40-minute mark, and I sure don't want to go over. So I'm going to keep up this high pace here and try not to exceed, 1 hour of your precious time. And it is precious, and I thank you for, bearing with me. All right, so U.S. CAD. Now, monthly chart, we don't have a tremendous amount to go on. We really don't. We're very, very tight monthly, so I don't have a lot to say there. I'm going to immediately jump over instead to the daily. I'm going to skip the monthly look. Now, in our room, we've been very bullish. In our trade room, we were very bullish on U.S. Canada for quite a while and talked about 90 and then 90-50, and then eventually we even got to the point where we started saying parity and parity plus 40. Now, parity plus 40 failed. I hate to say it, but we did not make it there. That's parity. Pardon me, that's parity plus 40 right there. We didn't make it. And all of a sudden, things started turning. And I've been getting bearish on it now for a while, a couple of days. And one of the reasons is on this hourly, I hate to do this because I know this is a longer term view, but on the hourly chart, okay, we were looking at the 99.60s, and this was becoming a real issue. We noticed this hourly over here, and we noticed it right over here, and I started warning everybody, and I said this thing is becoming a short. We want to short it, and I think I was kind of preaching it pretty heavy right about there. As a matter of fact, right before that bar happened, and our discussion, led towards that, we were looking at this far more short with a break of 99.60 to pummel this thing down and open up a door for basically an 80 pip move or more. And, we did break it hard right there. We came back up and we're kissing the back of the breakdown spot, which causes people concern. They're like, oh, wow, it broke and now we're back again. Everybody gets, all freaked out about it. But, it couldn't rise very much. Let me open this up a little bigger, and you'll see. Right here, it went down hard. Look at the rise. Up into the 618 fib, up into the 200 MA, crashed again. We're back again, okay? So it's strong in that sense that it wants to magnetize this area, but it's weak in the sense of the daily that is seriously calling for a move down here. All right. So let me show you that. On the daily chart, we can see a structure of support right here. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a move back to support, to have that get tested. We've got a trend line that we can draw in. And we see a basic channel. Actually, I'm drawing from the wrong place. I'm still drawing from the wrong place. That's because I don't have my lines there. Sorry. All right, so we're looking for this pullback into support, and maybe a little bit deeper, maybe down in here. And then, eventually we'll hold there and turn back up. But right now I'm kind of bearish on it. Okay, what else do we have? Swiss franc. This one has also been a worthy opponent lately. We've really liked it. The weekly chart is kind of sideways, but with really good moves. I mean, if you look at the weekly range, it is nice. 150 pips or more, okay, on the weekly range. So the daily is becoming quite awesome. And in our trade room, we've been looking at this as both a short and a long at various times. We see this area right now as resistance, resistance, and resistance. And then we were looking at, fibs and all, as we normally do, and looking for longs at the bottom. And actually, now, I don't know if I can agree with this right now. I haven't done too much work on the Swiss, but if the euro keeps on breaking, well, obviously, let me get rid of these things. If the euro keeps on breaking, the Swissie's going to keep on popping. And my fellow roomie, Chris Littlejohn is looking for a move up here to 95. So if he's bullish on this, and he's got his reasons for it, which I'll have to question him about later, but if that occurs, if the euro keeps on breaking down, then we can expect that this is going to pop. All right, it's a mirror of the euro. Let me think. How much time do I have? Okay, well, before running into the yen crosses, that's a whole world of its own. Actually, that takes some time on its own. Maybe what we'll do is look at the SPY. We started trading in our room. We started trading oil, gold, silver, and the S&P and the FTSE as well. And we were looking at this on, let's see here, I think it was an hourly chart many days ago. Yeah, that's correct. S&P, we were looking at this on an hourly chart days back, and we had a fairly choppy movement and a choppy channel. And basically I got bullish on it a little while back. I was calling it long over here, and especially once we broke the top, saying that we were going to go up and move towards this previous peak. And we actually got that move right there, but then it collapsed. So I really like SPY on more of an hourly situation, and I think that's a better way to look at it, is hourly and 4 hour. Look at where your levels of support and everything are. Gold and silver, everybody's aware, they got pummeled, they got crushed. Let's face it, they got royally slaughtered. Which one was worse? Oh my, it was silver. Silver took a beating. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why? Why did silver and gold get hit so hard? I know the fundamentals and all, and the numbers that came out the other day, the jobs numbers, and maybe somebody knows something. We could look at it two different ways, right? Who's going to win? I mean, they're tied neck and neck. Obama, right, and the other guy, Romney. We don't know which one's going to win. We don't know, but they're tied neck and neck. So the issue is this: does somebody know something? I mean, because this took a massive hit, brutal, almost 2-point hit, and that is a big move for silver. We have to admit it's gigantic. And then looking at the fib situation, we've come down to this prior congestion right here that happened in August, and we've come down to the 200 MA. We've hit it. We've crushed it. We've almost hit the 50% fib. God have mercy. And we have the 100 MA right below it. So I am really hoping that silver is going to hold its own down here and that we don't get any more bloodletting, but it very well could be. And I'm not recommending people actually trade this heavy on a currency basis, because it can hurt you really bad. I mean, just a mini lot, okay, just a mini lot moving against you or for you can make you hundreds and hundreds of dollars, or it can hurt you hundreds of dollars. So it's a little bit painful to trade it. But as far as physical purchase goes, repeat after me: thou shalt not buy the highs. No, no, no. That is not the name of the game. Okay, the name of the game is thou shalt sell the highs. Okay, we sell highs. We get rid of our silver up here. But where do we start purchasing silver? We buy it on bloodletting days. So when the day is hit really bad, and you feel like, I all of a sudden think I need 10 or 20 or 50 ounces of silver, that's when you want to hop on the phone and start buying, okay? Because this is great. So I'll just say that if you don't own any silver, you might want to buy some. I could definitely recommend a small purchase, okay? Nothing that will break the bank, but silver is good and gold is good. So if you want to be purchasing gold, repeat after me: thou shalt not buy those highs. Only a dummy buys the highs. We don't do that, okay? We like gold when it has been killed. We want to buy when it has a brutal day and sells off 30, 40, 50 points. It's even better if it can sell off 85 points. We really like that, okay? High quality move, very pleased. I know others are bummed out, but this is the time to hop on the phone, get your little first purchase done, okay? So we're looking at gold, massive pullback right now, hasn't quite made it to the 50% fib like silver has, okay? Silver's been hit much worse. This is still above the 200 and the 100, so we have our little crossover, which is an awesome signal of longer term bullishness. You got the 100 crossing the 200, we like that. And this is obviously hurt right now, and we don't know how it's going to go. It's very dangerous to trade this before the election, because you don't know what's going to happen. But if one guy wins, gold is going to plummet, possibly. That's what they say. The powers that be out there that like to talk about it and speculate it. And if the other guy wins, gold is going to surge. So it could be that there's just a speculative sell-off right now, and everybody's just panicking as the margin is dumping. Okay, margin clerks are sharpening their pencils and having a field day right now. But if the other guy wins and all of a sudden kapow, you start to see gold and silver take off to the moon, you'd be pretty happy with a physical purchase down here, and then watch the thing climb and break out and work its way up to 1900 or something. On a fundamental basis, let's face it, all fiat currencies are garbage. Okay, they really are. They're paper. They're paper. They're just completely. I'm trying to copy this. Sorry. They're paper. And paper's slightly worthless, and they can devalue it, but gold is substantial. It's real, it's tangible, it's like real estate. I love it. And eventually, could we not see gold go to 2,000? I'm not the guy that's preaching gold to 5,000. I'm not there, okay? I don't think so. I'm not going to sit there and say gold is going to $5,000. I'm not in that camp. Sorry, But could gold ever, hit 2? Absolutely. There's a definite possibility that at some point gold could go here. All right, so I like it when it gets killed. All right, enough of that. How much time do I have? Probably not much. Let me think. Which one shall I finish with? We'll go to odd New Zealand. On a daily basis, we were looking at this actually as a short. And the reason, on a daily, is we're in a beautiful daily downtrend for odd New Zealand. Okay, if you just look at it, it's a beautiful daily downtrend. We did rise, and we got a rise, orderly pullback to the 50% fib, and then we fell into this little choppy channel right here. And when we started to break down 2 days ago, we got pretty bearish on this and said, you know what, it's all over. It's going down. And it is. It's falling. It's falling really hard. Now, if we clean this up, get rid of, gosh, I gotta get this in my memory. Certain things are not the right button. Okay. If we clean this up and we look at it on a daily basis, we have a pullback to the 50% fib, and inside of an hourly chart, we bounced. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you it. I'll just hit hourly. We pulled back to a 50% fib, and we bounced off of this level. I was looking at it in the room as a short, and I told all my my roomies that we really should be shorting this on pops, and we came up with a couple of prices that we were looking at. And we got that bounce basically right to the pip, or shall I say right to within 5 pips of our short watch territory. And the next time, I said, okay guys, it's probably going to break that 50% and start to run its way down to the 618 level. I still like it as a short, I really do. It's broken a trend line. It's breaking down on every time frame, and I'm really looking at odd New Zealand slowly working its way down there to just underneath 125, okay, which is going to put a lot of pressure on odd. Think about it. Odd is going to be hurting, but New Zealand is going to stay strong, really strong. And that's what we see against, this New Zealand yen. I guess I'll finish with this one. Boy, this video is going to take forever to process. This is really going to, oh boy. All right, so New Zealand yen on a daily, we can see how strong it's been, and it's just been breaking out. We've been looking at this wedge right here for a long time, and how it's starting to pop above these highs, and it's getting very, very bullish. Right, so it's been getting very, very bullish, and if you drop down to the lower time frames, you can actually see that on, let's see, we'll go hourly. Hourly, this concerned us the other day, and I'll tell you, I was short. Okay, I was short a small slice, and I was expecting an hourly shelf to break, and it ended up going higher. And then, tragedy of all tragedies, okay, and thank God I had only small pieces on. I didn't put a stop loss in. Oh, the shame. Woke up the next day, it's up here. I'm like, oh my God, in big trouble. No, I wasn't, because the pieces were very small, so it didn't hurt too bad. But I did have to, start washing. I mean, that washing process, never fun, and I had to get involved with, shorting it and pulling off a piece, and shorting it and pulling off a piece, and eventually washed my way out. And then we found the hourly support area, which we're basically looking at over here towards the 40s, and all I was hoping for was simply a pullback here to the 40s, and I just wanted to be gone, and I did, And I can't remember if I broke even or if I had a tiny little loss. I think it might have been a small loss, nothing big, probably $100 or something. It just wasn't important to me. And all of a sudden, we got a little sell-off at the end of the day, and New Zealand started to crash. But, look at New Zealand itself and look at New Zealand yen, and you can see it still doesn't want to go through this hourly shelf. It just doesn't want to go. Okay? Look at how that is. It's strong. So, be careful trying to short anything with New Zealand in it, for the next couple of days, because we just need odd New Zealand to come on down towards, 125, and if it can bounce off of that level, then, maybe we can look at a New Zealand short, but right now, I'm not interested. Okay, I think I have almost hit an hour, so I apologize. I thank you for your precious time. I know, your time is valuable and worthy, and thanks for, watching the charts with me. And, like to do this once a month, at the end of the month and the beginning of, the next month. It's always a good idea. So, anyway, happy trading, everybody. I really appreciate it, and if you guys care to know more about us, just, check us out on the web. Feel free to, sign up with us for a month, check us out, see if we know what we're talking about or not. And I'll see you guys next time. And until next time, safe trading, everybody. It's a jungle out there. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.